Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy circle of light that celebrates all the love of God. The only prayer worth answering is to hear the voice of God and to see where that. You begin to see why the Vedas, why these books just speak so eloquently of infinite grace, of what we truly are, like that song of the universe, the beyond the universe, the song of infinite love that just sings and sings and unceasingly. Because it doesn't do anything, doesn't know what doing is. To the light of divine being, no doing. The freedom from doing, from the idea that doing is even possible, that something can be done. Just love expressing in its totality as it is. Love because we are, no reason. Love doesn't know a reason. Does infinite light of being know a reason? So I've been looking with Jesus, and many of you are talking about this, how we're all seeing that we can hear this voice. And even if we throw up doubts or blocks or all these ideas, we've forgotten that we threw up all the blocks. We've forgotten that we made God fearful so that we wouldn't look. And to start to see that all the help that could ever be wanted has been given all along. And so I've been looking at Jesus. This is so direct and unsparing, and it really is no compromise, this light circles looking, because you can't compromise when you're looking so directly and allowing that voice to say, okay, here are the miracles you need to see. And accepting that assistance, which of the miscreations, of all the miscreations, so we can start seeing that every miscreation is the same, a denial of divinity. And to have the help from the one who knows to see which ones when and how to look. And so looking at with him at miscreation, the desire for the entire miscreation, I said, well, why not? Love doesn't know a limit on any of this infinite love. Not to be afraid, not to buy into that fear, the diversionary technique, our own diversion, not to look so directly and unsparingly, to start with the light of divine being. Start with who we are, to see that there's something here, not a thing though. Is the light a thing? No thing, no words? The wordless one, the one we don't have to describe. Why describe it? What we are. It's indescribable. Isn't that the contrast between trying to describe what we are in thought? And how beautifully and magnificently Jesus leads us in this course beyond thought. To just hear one thought of God, it's like, whoa. Like today, it's like so much love in these thoughts. Creation's freedom promises my own, lesson 279. To see how these are the tuning fork of infinite love, how he's tuning us back, tuning the instrument that got out of tune, that was playing this disharmonious, screeching, yelling denial, to the song that sings of only the greatest joy and happiness. He's tuning us in to see that these thoughts point back. So instead of thoughts that go out and say, no, 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 I want the projection, it gives the thoughts that point in, to point back to what's true, the divinity, divine nature of being, creation's freedom in the light of divine being and honesty of God. Does creation freedom promise my own? And hear the big yes from the light. To be reminded, yes, and is the light of divine being here to help us see beyond the idea we have, to see that creation's freedom promises my own. And that voice, the voice for God, is the only voice that can get us back. We were watching part 3 of holographic, part 3, holographic universe. And I did have a thought. It's like, Jesus, I'm not sure why we're watching this. That thought rose. But I know enough now. See, you know enough. Whose voice is asking why? Trust in the Lord, as my sister would say. And I started to see, because there was so much of it, it's just concepts. You start to see how it's all just concepts. And if we get involved, and that thing is chock full of them. Chock full, like from start to finish. This is how the universe works, and it's a projection that goes through your brain, and I'm saying, Jesus, so is this still something we're to look at? Yes. And it became so clear. I don't know if there's anything else I've watched. I guess the mind's getting to that point now where you see you cannot do this without that voice, because now you have the voice. And I've mentioned it before, it's for me, right? Everything we read, everything that appears in consciousness, we can ask about. Jesus, is this how it? No. See, we can discern. So listening to everything, listening to every movie, that we have the power to talk. I'm asking him, yes, to talk to him that clearly, line by line, just like going through a New Testament. That's why going through a new covenant is so helpful, line by line with him. And because it establishes, at least for here, that dialogue becomes so clear, that discernment. Okay, where am I miscreating? Is this true? Each step. And it was the same thing in that video. I could see that if the mind, quote unquote, would try to get hold of a concept, you could see it immediately. It's exhausting. Where it's just asking, okay, is this, and to have him just say directly, look, everything in consciousness can serve a purpose, interpreted by me, of course. Because we need his interpretation. Like nothing in consciousness is inherently good or bad. But we're so used to getting lost in it, so lost in it. And that was just such a perfect, because they were quoting from Bashar, and he's showing me how, yes, okay, that can be helpful. It just won't get you home. Do you see, this is what gets you home. What gets you home is talking to me, to see everything what's appearing, to see what's for you to look at, that's most helpful for you to see. And for you to see, because it was talking about how consciousness there's something on the other side of a screen that is projecting a world, and then we just are the perceivers of it. That projects this hologram, something out there. He calls it he's calling it something new now at the end of it. What was he calling it? Infinite eye, projecting it. We can ask the light, is the light involved whatsoever with the projection of the holographic universe? You don't have to know anything what a holographic universe is. We just ask the light. And the light of a divine being is the infinite, is the light projecting a holographic universe. And here's the answer. Who's projecting that? See, we still want somebody or something outside the self to be doing that. When it's the subconscious desires, it's the choice for miscreation experience that blows it out. We can ask the light that. See, the light has all the answers. That's why he's going to tell us everything we need to know. And he's not kidding about it. When you first hear that, okay, and then you start saying, I don't want to hear anything that voice has to say. Part of the play, right? Part of the play. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to listen to it. Don't want part of the play. Part of the desired experience, not to hear the voice, so we can play in the holodeck. So now we come back to the promise, the way back. Creation's freedom, promise is my own. As the voice becomes the only thing that's valued, the only thing. To cease to value the play of the holodeck, getting involved in the holodeck hell, as we've talked about. The end of dreams is promised me. Oh, that's great. The dream of being separate from the Father. The end of all dreams, actually. For a time, the holodeck will play. The happy holodeck, that's what he's talking about. But the dream that the holodeck is doing something to a me is washed out by honoring this thought. Creation's freedom promises my own. Creation, what's creation? We can ask the light, what's creation? What's true creation? We're so used to we think we create, a painting or a building furniture. None of it's inherently, it can be used by the Holy Spirit for the divine to express. Now we're just really talking about what's the real gig. Let's ask the light what true creation is. Infinite expression of divine love as it is, perfect whole, just infinitely extending it, love. The light, seeing the qualities, seeming qualities of the light is the clue. Infinite, unchanging, immutable, unchanging, timeless. The only reality, that reality, changelessness. We can ask, does the light dream? Does it know what dreaming is? Does it observe anything? Is it looking for something to observe? Doesn't observe. The light doesn't observe. That's a play in consciousness. Observation. Just ask the light. Is the observing, I'm even asking Jesus, the observer, that comes up a lot, be the observer. It's really just a pointing. It's a pointing not to be so involved in the hologram. Jesus is saying here so clearly, he's repeating it for me again. He's saying exactly what I'm teaching you now. He says, don't even think about the observer, other than to see that as soon as you have something observing, there's something observed, you got two. And that the light doesn't observe anything. See, does the light observe anything? So what he's giving is so direct right now. Light, ask me about the denials, where you're denying light, so they can be revealed to a miracle. That's it. That's all it's needed. Nothing else. So simple. You don't try to have to be anything. You don't do anything. See, he's doing it all. It's not even a doing. It's just a releasing from the doing. The undoing, as it's called, undoing. And it's the fastest means because he knows the way of it. The end of dreams is promised me because God's Son is not abandoned by love. That's a concept. In the light of divine being, are we abandoned by love? So we just sit still a moment in this. Sit still. to be fully present to this. This Sunday service in holiness, this deep contemplation of divinity. Only in dreams is there a time when he appears to be in prison. Let's ask the light. In the light of divine being, honesty of God. To be in prison and feel we're in prison, is this a dream? If it be at all. Yet in reality, his dreams are gone. In the light of divine being, in reality, are our dreams gone? Does the light know anything about dreams? To really be present with the contemplation of divine love, to truly just leave all the world behind and see. Let this be our one focus. And awaits a future freedom. Is the dream desire for a future freedom? See, the ego is going to do anything it can do to avoid just looking, just simple, clear, direct looking. It'll do anything not to look directly, not to focus completely. Who was I talking to? Like, I think I was talking to Teresa yesterday. It was just a great reminder how much we'll really start to be able to see. We'll really start to be able to see that the light's here, and we'll just do anything not to look directly. Or like what's happening on the 13th floor. To have distractions, go by, like I said, go for ice cream, get a pizza. So many thoughts will start pouring into the mind. Thoughts and distractions will come so that we will not look directly. Will not ask the voice, what's helpful right now? That's how much we don't want to look. That's why we need his help. Is this helpful right now? Is this thought helpful? Do I focus on this? Is this something to be doing right now? That's how much we need to be led by the hand. Because we would not give the spaciousness in our mind, we want to fill it in. We can ask light, how much is there a desire to hate silence and stillness? And see what the light says. How much silence, how much dislike? We can ask, is there any dislike below my level? We can just ask, is this here? Is there a dislike for stillness? Do I want to push it out of my awareness, silence, and hear the yes? Okay. Show me the desire not to be still. How nervous we get. That was beautiful. Teresa was reflecting that. She said, I start feeling anxious, trying to get, because we're fooled into believing that our safety is in the movement, in the changing, in the avoidance. She could see it. We can all see it. She's not for her. It's for all of us to see that it's avoidance. Do I have a desire to avoid seeing that I'm light right this moment? Am I wanting to see anything other than light right in this moment? That's when we get really direct. And we were talking about that for sleep too. We're noticing, like, start watching a movie or an assignment, and all of a sudden, boy, you feel some kind of fatigue. You either feel anxious or you feel fatigue. We have to ask, is this helpful? It may be given to sleep. And as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this story too before. It was so profound because I did ask Jesus, I'm feeling really tired. And he goes, well, can I sleep? And he said, yes. And then the realization came, oh my God, I'd rather spend this time with you. And I was like, so infinitely happy. Like, wow. It was like, that was the answer. Infinite happiness. I'd rather spend that time. See, he has the use of time for us. Like, so much happening, even when he brings those stories that are helpful remembrances, how he uses memory to help us remember how he's been there all along. It's reusing memory instead of memory that tries to prove that we're separate. It's memory that reminds of the infinite power of being until even memory falls away. Does the light know what memory is? We want to hold on to those, staple them so they hang like little sheets, so that we can't lose them. See that feeling, that desire to keep memory? We can ask Jesus, is there a desire to keep memory alive? See, keeping memories alive as though they're real. I'm going to ask him, is that a denial of divinity? He says it is, unless you give those over to me to retranslate them. See how we want to play in the past. Only in dreams is there a time when he appears to be in prison and waits future freedom. Jesus, is there any desire below my level of awareness to experience freedom in the future? That's such a good one to look at. In the honesty of God. Can you show me the miscreation of the desire for freedom in the future? To see how that's self-denial, how I'm denying myself by saying I can be free at a future date. See how that starts the little timer going? The little time, the snooze button ding. I can have it in the future. See that play? Is the light in the future? Or is the light here now? Is the miscreation the desire for a dream? Ask the light. See, that's the miscreation. That's why looking at that miscreation with Jesus, show me every miscreation. Otherwise, those miscreations are the snooze button of terror and unhappiness. We can just ask him, am I going to feel bad every time I hit the snooze button? Whoa. Because it's hitting the button of weakness. And when we feel weak, we're going to feel guilty. It's the whole miscreation of a world right there, hitting the snooze button and not listening. I want to snooze. Like we say, when you snooze, you lose. This means a whole whole new meaning for snooze, you lose. You lose all awareness. If the snoozing is to lose awareness of infinite love now. And thus make freedom seem like a future event. It's that freedom's outside our control. Ask the light. When we hit the snooze button, is a desire to pretend that freedom is outside our control. If it can be at all. Yet in reality, his dreams are gone, with truth established in their place. Is the light always here in the place of dreams? Should we be willing to accept it immediately? Should we be willing to have him say, let me show you the miscreation, the desired experience of miscreation, so easily, so simply. This need not be. And now is freedom his already. To give God our full focus now. Nothing else to do. Nothing else of value to do. Is anything else of value to do right now than give Jesus our full focus? What is better use of time? In the light of divine being, is there anything that's a better use of time than giving Jesus our full 100% focus? And now is freedom his already. Should I wait and change what have been severed for release when God is offering me freedom now? In the light of divine being, what purpose does waiting have? Other to extend the addiction, to not see that we are free now. That's humbling. We will accept your promises today and give my faith to them. My Father loves the Son whom he created as his home. My Father loves the Son whom he created. We don't want to see that. Jesus, do I really want to see that I will accept your promises today? And hear the answer, because that's the honesty of God. And if it comes up, no, we decide like a miracle that I'm not willing to accept your promises today, right now. The promises that I'm light. Am I willing, Jesus, to give my faith to all your promises? Will you help me? I'd like a miracle for willingness to give my faith to all your promises rather than my faith invested in an idea of a separate identity. My Father loves the Son whom he created as his own. Let's ask Jesus, do we really want to see this with all our heart? My Father, that the Father loves us. Is there any like tightness or desire not to see that our Father loves us? We can ask. And then ask for a change in perception if it comes up, no. Jesus says, no, you really don't want to see it. Then we're in honesty of God. We commit, you're right, Jesus, I don't want to see. My Father loves his Son, who he created as his own. It's easy now, because once we admit it, space for grace. Space for infinite grace to just move in and take us over. Take us out of the world. That's what Jesus means by God making the last step, because we as personal identities cannot take a step. We have to be willing. We can't do it. It's the admission. We, the idea of a personal identity, can't do it. It's impossible. Can the personal identity see the light? It's not what's seeing. The personal identity is the investment not to experience the Father loves his Son, who he created as his own. Would you withhold the gifts you, with a capital U, gave to me? So the question is, are we willing to sit still with the discomfort of these things arising? See, the ego is going to complain. It's going to whinge. That's why we have to ask Jesus what the release is. Is this release? So we can sit and let it fully bloom in awareness. I'm asking him, yes. It's only uncomfortable because we're trying to hold it down. See, rather than just be completely who we are. We think miracles are painful. Ask the light that. Do we feel that miracles are painful? We have a desire for miracles to be painful. That's how much we've confused our natural state of being. That's how difficult, that's how much we want to move if we start to feel anxious. See, instead of looking, we move. Instead of going, is this true? We join the movement. We play in the distraction. Do we have a desire? Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness to distract myself from this direct, unsparing looking? To withhold the gifts, it's withholding the gifts from ourselves. Whoa. Is distraction, we ask the light, that is distraction trying to withhold the gifts and hit the snooze alarm. Anything but this direct looking. I'm asking him. So these light circles can be a very hot fire, seemingly, because the ego, it's only a hot fire when the ego doesn't want to see, when we admit we don't want to see, like we're home free and just plain look. And go to the desire. See, if we're above the desire, we're just bouncing around inside the samsara. Ding, ding, ding. I feel this, I feel that. Oh my gosh. And then it goes, oh my gosh, this is real, this is real, this is real. See how that, we just start noticing. I'm starting to feel anxious. I don't want to feel, you see how it goes up, and he's going, no, come with me. Sit with the desire for whatever's arising. Sit with me. Jesus, is this? Yes. Sit with me. See the desire, be fully recognizing that desire and admitting it. Yes, oh, I want it. Then I'll tell you when it's time to ask for a miracle. Let him deliver it. Okay. Or you can ask, can I ask for a miracle? Sometimes he's going to tell you no. It's the most surprising thing. Then he goes, okay, ask for, whoa. It's like a little rocket ship takes off. Not always. He knows. That's learning to trust him so much. Exactly when to ask for the miracle. So nothing hides. Nothing hides in looking at these desires to deny divinity. Because sometimes we'll try to, okay, I want a miracle to distract from really the admission. See, I want to the full admission that this is a desired experience. That's the speed up. Whoa. That's the trust building with the Lord. Unsparing. So that we experience directly where we're denying creation's freedom and promises model. We can ask him now. If there's anything, Jesus, is there anything we need to see in terms of denying creation, freedom, promises my own? He says, you're home. Already done. See that it's already done in the light of divine being. And cease to deny it. He says, give way to silence, stillness. Call not death to you. Call not death. Be still and know that you are God. Amen.